Hey everyone, thanks for checking in with us again. We're going to do a quick video because we get a lot of complaints about the guitar buttons sticking. I'm sure we all have the red or the green sticking, maybe even the yellow depending on what difficulty you play on. It's going to be the one where you slide your finger back and forth the most, usually the red. Some people play it this way, however, and they use their left index to point out, so it could be your yellow as well. This particular problem is the red, but we'll clean all of them just in case. Now, most of these guitars have a 6-sided screw head. My particular size is an 8. But we've already removed all the screws for this example just so we can quickly get to it. Be wary though, because there is a connector here and this board likes to catch here. So you want to lift this end first and then lift the top end so it comes off without bending that board. And believe it or not, that's all there is to your guitar. You got 5 interrupts, feed cable, and then the connector down here that goes to the bass. So if you'll give me just 1 second, we'll swap out my tops, undo the 2 Phillips screws here. Board now, and the plastic sensor should stay down. So here's your interrupts. All it is a little polarized item. Then when these little knobs here hit it, it interrupts the signal. Now usually the dirt isn't here, it's usually in here, and there you go, you got all this dust and grime that got in here. And what causes the interference is this gunk builds up to the point where when you press down, those knobs don't go all the way out. The green's doing it some even. The knobs aren't pressing all the way through. So what we want to do is clean this as good as we can. Now, this is kind of like a home video. So we're going to use home items. We got rubbing alcohol here, simple, cheap, 70% rubbing alcohol. And this is a little trade secret. This is the Spanish version, Fabricio Oxy. There's also an American version, I'm sure. If you want to buy only American, this was nice and cheap at the deal store. It's got OxiClean in it and some other nice stuff, but what's nice is it's a good stain remover, but it's not so powerful it'll bleach items. So this is great for plastics, but I wouldn't use this on the sensor board, nor would I really use the rubbing alcohol. So it's a good thing all we want to do is to clean this. Alright, we're going to take some Q-tips. Some of the rubbing alcohol. This is a squirt bottle, so I'm actually just going to tilt it forward until I get a couple drops. Don't want too much access. Or at least I don't. I don't want to get rubbing alcohol everywhere. Just gonna. I won't worry too much about possibly breaking the sensors because A, they're not electronic. This is rubber on rubber, to be brutally honest. And think how many times you violently jam down on that plastic knob. Now this is where it'll collect, but what can also interfere is where it'll dry on getting down to here. And that is in the groove of the buttons. This area right here. Give this a good wipe as well. If it cakes on here, it can jam the button and not let it go all the way down. You can see where this person has a lot of sweat. There's brown all through here where they've been gripping it, where the guitar closes. Let's clean the green button and we'll set it back down. Now for the red. And you want to do these one at a time. Because if you're like some people I know, you might forget the order. And if you pull them all out, you'll go, oh my god, which order was it? I can't remember. So, let's hop back around. This is plastic, so there are some rough edges. If you notice, the cotton comes off your cotton swabs. Just pinch it off and take it. They're nice and loose and clean. So we're going to take our sensor. There's still some liquid there, so I'm going to take a clean Q-tip and just help dry it out. Alcohol will air dry, but if there's large amounts of it there, it'll take a very long time for it to air dry. So you want to make sure you get all this loose lubricant. Going over with a dry cotton swab will also help get rid of any remaining caked on flakes or anything else, so it never hurts. The reason why I say cotton swabs or Q-tips is because these nice little corners, your Q-tip can gently press and get into them and help get rid of the gunk that can build up in the corners. So it's a good all-around tool. It's gentle enough to get in there and clean it out. It's also good for cleaning heat sinks, believe it or not. You can press down with it and gently scrub your heat sinks clean. Okay. I don't see any more shining, so it looks like all the fluid's gone. Lay that back down. Kind of just loosely sits there. There's no way to really secure it, and that's technically what this thing is here for. Remember, sensor's facing down. Line that up. Your screw holes. Take your screws. You definitely want to do one at a time. Normally, as an engineer, I want to set them out and get them started. But since you're dealing with a loose pad underneath, you want to do one in at a time. Get it good and snug, not tight, but snug. You definitely want to center it on that circle that they colored in for you. So that's not all the way down, but it's snug. And now we're going to come over here. Final adjustments, make sure all these are good and down, they're all lined up. I'm going to press down on it. Once again, just make sure this is good and tight. And set in the second screw. You want to make sure this is good and tight, because if any of that plastic is bubbled up or folded over and you go to play your guitar, you're going to notice the same issue. Once I get this somewhat firm, I'll show you what I mean. What can happen is these folds here to the left and right of these openings can fold over while you're screwing it down. So you want to make sure all these buttons can still freely press in and out. And they are. So we're going to finish tightening this down. Now that it's on there good, we're going to fasten it down really good. Not necessarily breaking point tight, but we're going to make sure this is good and down there. So we got good, solid connections. Okay. Actually feels very good. All right. Now, same thing, remember, the board here likes to catch on these grooves. So you want to try to set that in first. Because if you break that board, your guitar is not going to be fixable. Good luck finding just a board somewhere. I guarantee you someone threw out the top of the guitar is probably what's wrong with it. The board don't want to register anymore. Oh, in my case, this cable's... Yeah, gotta make sure your cable maps out right. There we go. And there we go. Top will probably pop, which is fine, it's going to. And then resecure your screws, and that's it. I like to do a crisscross. There's 4 screws here on the top. So in this case, I'm going to do top left and then bottom right. This will help hold it still. Let's switch out the bits. I think it's funny I have to use Phillips inside, but this on the outside. Again, you want to get it just to where it's snug. You don't want to really torque it in there too much. This is metal on plastic after all. You'll strip it very quickly. Yeah, that's up right there. Now for this, I just come down here to the very last hole and tighten it. And then I'll just put in the ones in the middle. This is just to make sure one end doesn't come loose or does something else. Now it's pretty much solid. So, there you have it. Quick explanation how to quickly clean your connections and get the playback out of your guitar. Earlier, don't know if you guys could hear it or not, but the red wasn't making that nice sound, and that's when you know you get a good clean sensor. Makes that almost like a knocking sound. And now if you don't hear that, it's probably dirty and you need to do what we just showed you. That's all she wrote, folks. Happy hunting, and we'll see you next time.